Welcome back, folks. It's time to go deaf. Actually, I'm going to wear my earplugs for the entirety of this video. You are listening to the Fender 57 Custom Twin amp. This is a hand-wired amp from Fender, made in the USA. Let's take a look. Here's the amplifier up close. Now, one of the things to take note of, this is handmade in the United States. This isn't a PCB board like my Fender Blues Deluxe back there. And we get this beautiful lacquered tweed. And this just always looks great in my opinion. I'm a big fan of this particular look. In terms of the cabinet build, we get a finger joined solid pine cabinet. Now that's another one of those premium upgrades. When it comes to the speakers in the back, when I first saw them, I thought, oh no, Fender have used those sort of generic Eminence speakers they used to use all those years ago, but they're not. These are actually new design ones which really have a great vibe. They sound full and fat. They have a lot of harmonic overtones. Lots of good things going on with these 2x12s, but as you can see, the amplifier is kind of leaning this way. That's because it does lean that way when you lift it as well. It's a little lopsided, so it does weigh a lot and it is weighted towards this side. As you can see from the front panel, this is a very simple amplifier. We have a presence control, a 2-band EQ, a volume for the bright channel and a volume for the normal channel. And you can just plug into each corresponding channel. So say for example, if you want to use the bright channel, plug into number 1 here. If you want to use the normal channel, you can plug into number 1 over here, and then you can just turn up that particular volume. Now, from what I read online, you can't jump the channels. Maybe some of the other models can, but from what I read on this, it doesn't look like you can do that. Now, as you can see, we've got a whole lot of valve/tubes in the back. Now we get two 12AY7 preamp tubes for that original lower gain tone in both the bright and normal channels. And then we get two 12AX7 preamp tubes and a pair of 6L6 output tubes, which are matched and rated for higher output. Now we also get an internal bias pot, so you can change the different types of output valves if you so choose. And it also has two rectifier tubes as well. So this is why this amplifier is as heavy as it is. It's got a lot going on. One of the cool things about the rectifier tubes is you can basically remove one and it will then drop the output of the amplifier, giving you a more of a saturated tone. Now this is on loan, right? So I'm not going to do that in this video, but it's there if you so choose to use it. Firstly, a massive thank you to Sky Music here in Melbourne, Australia for letting me borrow this. If you live in Australia, links to them will be below. If you live outside of Australia, links to Sweetwater and Toman will be down there also. This is one of those amplifiers you've got to crank to get that tube saturation sound, but once you get there, it's pretty awesome, and we're going to get to that point in this video. I'll timestamp some different guitars in the description below and you can skip ahead if you so choose. But yeah, these are sort of like a top-end hand-wired Fender amplifier. They're expensive, they're heavy, they're loud, but God, they sound great. So let's get into it. All right, let's kick it off. We're going to start with some single coil tones. Thanks to my Fender American Original 50s Telecaster, we're going into the bright channel. I have the bright channel volume set to about 5, and you can see where I've got the EQ. Everything's pretty much set to 12 o'clock. Let's start there. Here we go. This is neck pickup. This should still be pretty clean. Sounds great, and it's pretty loud. I got my earplugs in already, so yeah, let's crank this up to about 8 on the dial now. So it's going to get into the dirty territory. This should sound pretty cool. Back to both pickups with the volume control down. Volume back up. So as you can hear, just by working your volume control, you get drastically different sounds out of the amplifier. Turn down, it cleans up, bring the volume back up, and you get that full tube saturation. So that's no pedals or anything else. Pretty cool. And now we're going to try the amplifier dimed on the bright channel. That's right, it's all the way up, and I've swapped over to my Fender American Original 50 Strat. Let's give this a shot. I'm going to start with my volume control down and play some lead stuff. A little bit more. All the way up. You get great sustain out of this amplifier. It sounds unreal. It just sounds full and big behind me. Let's try it now with a little bit of delay going straight into the front end. This is the Crazy Tube Circuits time delay. Let's give this a shot. Yeah. And now let's try it with some humbuckers. Thanks to my Gibson Flying V, I've just turned the volume of the amplifier back to 10. I've turned it down to 10. How about that? My neighbors are going to hate this, but they've got the loud dogs, so we're all good. So this is bridge pickup. That is so loud. That is so loud. And now over to the normal channel with the volume at the same point. We'll just see if we can hear a difference. Alright, so it sounds like the bright channel's got a little bit more saturation to it. Now, I got earplugs in, so it's a little bit hard for me to hear this, but before I comment on it at the end of the video, I'll listen back and see what the sound difference actually was in the room. I can't really hear that much of a difference with the earplugs in. Let's just go back to the normal channel one more time. Here we go. We'll start with the volume control down. That's about that bluesy sweet spot. Whew, that is so loud. Thanks for watching, folks. My name's Shane. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. This video was one of the loudest videos I've shot. The only other one that's come close in this room in recent times was the Fender Basement. If you missed that video, I'll leave a link up in the cards and you can check that out. But in terms of what I think about this is built extremely well. These hand-wired amps from Fender are blisteringly loud, and they also have just this beautiful sort of 3D projection and warmth to the sound. And it's funny, in the room, even though I had earplugs in, I tested it without earplugs earlier, I didn't feel like it ever really got that shrill on the top end either, even on the bright channel. Listening back to the comparison once it was saturated between the bright channel and the normal channel, there wasn't that much in it. I thought it felt like there was more saturation on the bright channel, but overall they were pretty similar, just a little bit of extra frequency there on the top end. So these amps push a whole lot of wind, and I think the thing to consider if you're ever thinking about buying one of these amplifiers is the fact to get it to sound like that. If you're not using any pedals, you've got to crank them up. So get them up to about 1 or 2 o'clock on the volume before it starts hitting that sweet spot, that saturation point. And then if you want to rock, just crank them up and you get full saturated tube distortion that you don't get from a lot of other amplifiers. The sound of the tube saturation distortion on this is so much better than my Fender Blues Deluxe on the clean channel crank. It's not even close. It's like two completely different class of amplifiers. And that's not to say that the Blues Deluxe is a bad amplifier, because I love that. That clean channel, what I love about it is it stays clean for pretty much most of the turn on that with the custom speaker I've got in there. But what I'm getting at is this particular amplifier just does that better. It does it far just nicer and more pleasing to the ear, and it captures that really tweed quality that a lot of players love. Now, one of the cool things about this amplifier is it has 2 rectifier tubes, and one of them can be removed for more of a bluesy sound, and that's what it states. Now, this isn't my amplifier, it's on loan, otherwise I'd love to do that, but yeah, being that it's on loan from Sky Music here in Melbourne, Australia, I'm not going to do that. If you want to find out about this amp, links to Sky Music will be below. If you live outside of Australia, I'll link it through to Toman and Sweetwater as well. But man, what a super cool amplifier. If I was playing at a place where I could get away with that, I would. That's too loud even for the gigs that I do. And one last thing I'm going to put in there just as a point of consideration. If you're buying this, odds are you can afford it, right? They're pretty expensive, but they're also pretty heavy. This would weigh what felt like way more than my Marshall. Those 2 speakers in the back give it a little bit of extra junk in the trunk, so to speak. It's pretty heavy. So is that the right term? I don't know. But anyway, it's a beast. It sounds great, and if you can justify the price and being able to sort of pick it up and move it around and to get it to that sweet spot, it's an absolute monster of an amplifier. So thanks again. Catch you soon. See ya.